My daughter was in the ICU when Dad called. Tomorrow's your brother's birthday. Come help prepare. I can't. She's fighting for her life. He barked. Then you're cut off. I hung up and blocked him. The next day, my daughter opened her eyes and whispered, Dad, about Grandpa. Imagine standing next to your child's hospital bed, watching them fight for every single breath. Then your own father calls, not to ask how they are, but to demand you help with the party. And when you say no, he snarls, then you're cut off. My daughter was in intensive care, clinging to life, and that was the moment my entire world utterly shattered. My name's Logan. I'm 36, a high school physics teacher. For my family, I was always the reliable one. You know, the human ATM. The guy who teaches kids about balancing forces and finding constants in chaos. The bitter irony is, I never found a constant at home. My daughter, Ava, she's 8. Bright, curious, loves drawing tiny galaxies on sticky notes and asking how cloud chambers work. 2 nights ago, her world, and mine, was flipped upside down. A sudden, brutal asthma storm. It knocked her flat in minutes. We ended up in the ICU. Machines hissed, plastic rails surrounded her little body, a red pulse glowed on her finger. I was right there, next to her bed, whispering, inhale, slow, exhale, trying to lend her my own breath, when my phone lit up. Dad. I stepped out into the harsh hallway. Fluorescent lights, a vending machine humming. Utterly bored with everyone's pain. Tomorrow's your brother's birthday. Come help prep, Dad said. No hello, no, how's Ava? Nothing. My voice was raw. I can't. She's fighting for her life. He let out that annoyed huff, the one I've known since childhood. Then you're cut off. Silence. The kind that changes the air around you. I waited for the punchline, for the joke, but it never came. Cut off from what? I asked because, frankly, I pay my own bills, and sometimes even theirs. From this family, he snapped. You think you're better than us because you teach physics and count pennies. Your brother needs you. We all do. If you're not going to show up, don't expect us to either. I looked through the glass at Ava, a tiny form under too big a blanket. I'm here, I told him and hung up. I blocked his number, and then put the phone face down like it had actually burned me. Back in a room, the monitor kept time with the slow, difficult work of her lungs. I sat there, counting her breaths, counting my own, and counting all the times I'd said yes to people who never once looked up when I was the one drowning. At dawn, Ava stirred. Her eyelashes fluttered, then her eyes opened. She turned her head, slowly, like it weighed 100 pounds, and whispered, dry and papery, Dad, about Grandpa? I leaned in. What about him? Her lip trembled. I heard you. Don't be mad at me like that. In that instant, the day took shape, a box with clear, sharp edges. My childhood home was a place where money was either a secret or a weapon. Mom tracked every coupon like it was a medal. Dad? He'd slap cash on the table for show, then ask me to cover the electric bill, just for this month. I started tutoring in 9th grade, saving for my first graphing calculator, even fixed our busted washing machine with YouTube and a borrowed multimeter. My little brother, Chase, he learned a different set of laws. For him, things always seemed to fall up. He's 29, allergic to steady work, obsessed with projects that live and die in group chats like Crypto Kings and Flip or Die. He always has fresh sneakers, a new phone, and a plan that requires someone else's wallet. Family helps family, Dad would say. But it never sounded like a belief. It sounded like an invoice. By 22, I was covering Chase's parking tickets. At 24, Mom's dental crown. At 26, the car insurance Dad forgot to pay. When Ava was born, I swore I'd stop. But then the pediatrician bill hit the same week Chase borrowed my spare car to buy gas and drained it on a weekend festival. Logan, don't be dramatic, Mom texted. He'll pay you back. He did once. $17 in quarters. When I took the physics job at Ridgeview High, Dad said, cute teacher money. He meant convenient. He meant predictable. He meant, we can plan around you. The family group chat became a museum of how that played out. Screenshots of my pay stubs. Photos of repairs I did in their kitchen. Chase's wish lists posted like public policy. Can you spot us rent? Needs 600 for tires. Unsafe otherwise. Bro, you're good at budgeting. Help me not drown. Help me not drown always meant throw yourself in with me. 2 months ago, Chase called at 1 a.m. I need $2,000 by morning. I'm in a bind. What bind? A long pause. Muffled laughter in the background. Inventory. Inventory of what? Don't be a cop, Logan. I sent nothing. The next day, I woke to wow. Family is supposed to show up from mom. Dad added a thumbs up. And don't be stingy. That week, my principal offered me a paid summer curriculum project. I said yes. I said yes because extra income would plug the holes Chase drilled through my budget. I said yes because I wanted to buy Ava a new nebulizer for home, so we'd never have to run down our stairs with a towel over her head again. I said yes and sent Mom a screenshot of my plan. No more loans. Please stop asking. Her reply? So you think you're better than us now? Then came the wedding invitation I couldn't afford to attend. Chase's friend. $150 a plate. Family table must chip in for open bar. The group chat lit up while I was grading labs. Chase. Logan can cover the bar deposit. He owes me. Me. For what? Chase. For being born first.
Dad. Enough.
Logan, just do it. Me. No. Silence. Then a stream of eye-roll emojis from Mom. The weekend before Ava's attack, I was at my parents' place, fixing a flickering breaker because Dad would rather pretend to be helpless than call an electrician. Chase hovered like a fruit fly. You know the party's next week, he said. I want sparklers and a projector for the backyard. We'll screen old videos. I'm not buying those, I said without looking up. Who said buy, rent bro? He grinned, tapping my shoulder. Put it on your card. I'll pay you back. I'm good for it. You're good at saying that, I shot back. He blew out a breath through his nose. You always make things hard. Dad came in with his performative, tired voice. Don't start. Logan, your mother says we need sides and a cake. Chase has enough to worry about. His job, I asked. Dad's eyes went flat. His life. That was the last normal conversation I had with them before the hospital. And even that was a stretch to call normal. Ava's attack hit like a car. 1 minute she was coloring a diagram of a magnet. The next, she couldn't pull air all the way down. We drove to the ER with hazards on. I talked her through the math of breath. Count to 4 in, 6 out. She nodded like a tiny, brave soldier. When they wheeled her to ICU, my shirt was damp with sweat and pure, primal fear. At midnight, while a nurse hung a fresh bag, my phone buzzed. Chase. Tomorrow's my prep day. You getting the cake? I typed, we're in ICU, and put the phone away. He sent a confetti gif. At 1 a.m., Dad wrote, we'll need your cooler. And the folding tables. At 2 a.m., Mom added, try to be cheerful when you come. Don't bring that gloomy energy. I turned the phone face down. I didn't reply. It didn't matter. They would keep asking until I said yes. The call at 6:42 a.m. was Dad's final draft of that pressure. It came out like a threat, because that's exactly what it was. Then you're cut off, his favorite tool. But he didn't expect that I, too, could use tools. By mid-morning, Ava's oxygen settled into a low, steady rhythm. The doctor talked about steroids, about observation. I nodded, took notes, because that's what I do. I collect facts. I build problems into solvable shapes. My problem wasn't the bill. I had insurance, a second job, a folder of emergency cash I'd guarded from my family, like a child. My problem was a 20-year habit of being the adult in a system that punished adulthood. And now, they'd finally said it out loud. Cut off. Dad, about Grandpa. Ava had whispered, her eyes heavy. It was like she knew I needed permission I shouldn't need. Don't worry about him, I told her. Worry about you. But I was already running the math. The breaking point wasn't a scream. It was a stack of cold, hard facts. At noon, while Ava slept, I stepped into the family lounge and opened the group chat. The last message was from Mom. Remember to bring napkins. Under it, Chase had added a link to a $400 projector. This one, TX. My fingers flew across the screen. Ava is in ICU. I will not attend the party. I will not pay for anything. Do not contact me today unless it is about Ava. I watched the typing bubble flicker, like a heartbeat. Dad, your grandmother would be ashamed of how cold you are. Chase, bro, it's one day. Don't make it about you. Mom, stop trying to control us. We're celebrating family. I took screenshots. Then I hit the little info button and switched the chat to mute it. Next, I opened my banking app. I scrolled through the list of authorized users on my old Costco card. Somehow, my father's name was still there from when I'd added him for grocery points during lockdown. I removed it. I closed the shared gas card I'd been paying since my 20s, because it's simpler if it's all on one account. I changed the Amazon password I'd been too tired to change for months. Then I called my union's legal line. Hi, I need advice about boundaries with family and harassment, I said, my voice steady, my heart bucking like a wild horse. Are there debts? The rep asked. Just habits dressed up as debts, I replied. Document everything, she said. If they escalate, we can talk restraining order. Start with clear, written boundaries. I wrote 3 sentences and sent them individually to each of them. Effective immediately, I'm no longer providing money, credit, or labor for family events or expenses. Do not use my name or accounts for purchases. Contact me only regarding true emergencies about health and safety. Chase responded first. LOL, okay, lawyer man. Then another. So, you're really not getting the cake. I put my phone in my pocket and took Ava's hand. The machine ticked. The room was small and manageable. For the first time in a long time, my life felt the same. At 3 p.m., Dad showed up at the hospital. He didn't text first. He didn't bring flowers or a book for Ava. He brought his voice. He stood at the foot of the bed, looked at my sleeping kid, then at me. Grow up. I stood up. Lower your voice.
He pointed at my chest.
You embarrassed your mother in the chat. You think you're some kind of hero because you pay a few bills? You think that gives you power? Not power, I said. Boundaries.
He scoffed.
Same thing when you use them to hurt people. The nurse peeked in. I lifted a hand. We're okay. We were not okay. I stepped into the hall. Dad followed. Here's what's going to happen, he said. You're going to unlock that card. You're going to bring those tables. You're going to show your face for your brother.
No.
His jaw twitched. Then you're cut off. You said that already, I told him, and I accepted. He blinked, like I'd spoken a language he didn't know. Then he tried a new one. What about when we're old, Logan? What about when we need help? You'll leave us to rot. I felt a calm click into place. The kind that only shows up when you finally stop bargaining with people who never bargain in good faith. I will help with health and safety, I said. Not parties, not debts, not projects, not lies. His voice rose. You think you're better than us. I pictured Ava's small hand in mine. I think I'm better than the version of me who kept saying yes and called it love. He took a step closer, eyes bright with anger. You ungrateful. Leave, I said. You're scaring my child. He looked past me at the bed, and for a second, I thought he might soften. He didn't. He turned and left with a muttered, "Don't come crawling back." I didn't. I went back to the beeping, the plastic smell, the important work of counting breaths. At 5 p.m., the monitors flashed a gentle green hill. The doctor smiled. She's turning a corner. Ava's eyelids fluttered. She whispered, Dad, about Grandpa, it's okay. I squeezed her hand. It will be. And I meant it like a decision, not a prediction. The aftermath started with a quiet I didn't trust. My phone stopped buzzing. The group chat that lived in my pocket like a small storm was suddenly a blue-gray sky with no alerts. At 9 a.m. the next morning, a nurse pulled the curtain with a smile. Look who's waking up. Ava opened her eyes all the way. Hi, she croaked. Hi, I said, tearing up in a way that made me feel both foolish and clean. I told her we'd watch cartoons on my laptop. She asked for the one with the robots who learn about friendship. We watched an episode with subtitles because the sound of beeping was enough noise for both of us. At 11 a.m., I stepped out to refill water bottles and check work email. 3 new messages greeted me. One from the principal. Take the time you need. One from a parent whose son finally understood torque after my after-school demo. Thank you. And one from Dad, a single line that said, return the tools you borrowed. The drill I bought him when his hand-me-down finally died. The latter I'd kept in my trunk because their gutters were a hazard. The word borrowed tasted like metal. I didn't reply. At 1 p.m., Chase called from an unknown number. I answered on the second ring because I wanted the control of that choice. Wow, you blocked me, he said. The sounds of a party drifted behind him. Chatter, laughter, a playlist full of songs that think they're better than you. You at your birthday? I asked.
Yeah.
Mom says you're trying to ruin it. I'm at the hospital. So dramatic.
He sighed.
Listen, the projector place won't accept Dad's card. Just put it on yours. I'll Venmo.
No.
A beat. You're really going to do this to me? I'm really going to do this for me, I said. And for Ava. He tried a different angle. Grandma would want us together. Grandma would want you to grow up. He swore at me, then hung up. 2 hours later, a cousin I hadn't heard from in a year texted. What did you do? Your dad's pacing. I typed nothing and put my phone away. By evening, the party posted itself online without me. Photos appeared on my feed because people forget where the lines are. Chase with a sparkler someone obviously bought on a credit card. Mom with a crown. Dad pretending to slice a cake with a bread knife, like it was cute to never have the right tool for anything but criticism. The next day, the real fallout began. My dad sent a message to the family group chat. Logan stole from his parents. We trusted him with accounts, and he locked us out. Mom added, he abandoned his family when we needed him most. Chase piled on with screenshots of half-truths, a Venmo request from months ago labeled gas. A blurry photo of my Costco card next to a grocery receipt, like he'd found evidence of a crime. Then aunts and uncles arrived, like they always do, late and loud. A teacher shouldn't act like this. Your father raised you. Family is family. I didn't answer in the chat. I wrote individual responses. Ava was in ICU. I set boundaries. If you message me about anything else, I will mute you. Half of them stopped.
2 didn't.
I blocked them. Chase escalated. He went for the predictable move, money. A $900 DoorDash charge hit my closed gas card. Then 3 subscription sign-ups on the Amazon account I just locked, as if wishing it open would open it. Then my phone rang. Bank fraud line. Suspicious activity, the rep asked. Yes, I said, and my voice didn't shake. Family misusing an old linked card. We walked through the charges. I told the truth without the old shame. Cancel. Reissue. Close. Remove all users. A pause. The rep took a breath like she recognized the pattern. I've got you, she said. Anything else we can secure today? My peace. I almost said. Instead, that's all. Thank you. That evening, Mom called from her number, even though I'd blocked it. She used Dad's phone. You humiliated us, she started. Don't talk to me like I'm a stranger, I said. Or do. It might help. She plowed ahead like a storm, ignoring a speed limit. Chase's account bounced because you took away the automatic transfer. Do you know how that makes us look? You promised. I promised nothing, I said. I asked for respect. You're selfish. I'm a father, I said. And a teacher. I'm done being a wallet. She made a wounded sound. You learned that cold tone from your textbooks. I learned it from being told, then you're cut off in a hospital hallway, I said. Good night. I hung up. I blocked the number. I put my phone face down and sat with the smaller sounds. Ava's slow, soft sleep, the hum of the vent, my own breath, in and out. The next morning, a small shift. A text from my Aunt Liza, the honest one who once slipped me $20 in a Christmas card and wrote, "Don't tell your father. Buy something just for you." "I'm proud of you," she wrote. "They're mad because the story changed." I stared at those words for a long time. The story changed.
Not me.
The story. At noon, the doctor signed the discharge. A volunteer wheeled Ava out like she was royalty. Sunlight hit her face and she squinted, then smiled. "Home."
Home, I said.
We drove slow. She hummed. I made a joke about photons that didn't land. She rolled her eyes, and I almost cried from the ordinariness of it. At home, I made soup. I set the nebulizer on the kitchen table like a trophy. Ava drew a comic of herself fighting a cartoon asthma monster with a laser labeled dad jokes. Around 7, my phone buzzed again. A new number. "Logan, it's Pastor Jim." The message began. I stared at the screen. Then I called him. "Pastor, I appreciate your concern," I said. Ava was in ICU. They made demands. I set boundaries. He cleared his throat. "I'm sorry to hear about Ava. I didn't know. Your father said—" "I know what my father said." A pause. "Would you like me to tell him I spoke with you?" "Yes," I said. "Tell him you spoke with me, and you heard me say I love them. I'm not their bank." He exhaled. "I'll pass it along." After we hung up, I got another text. This time from Chase himself. No unknown number, just his. "Dude, you got Pastor Jim involved? Narc move." "I didn't," I typed. "Dad did." "Whatever. We need rent this month. Mom's freaking. Be a man." I wrote back. Being a man isn't paying for boys. Then I muted him for a year. Over the next week, the noise faded. Not gone, just farther away. Like a neighbor who learns new hours. I taught my classes about momentum and used the word a lot in my head. Momentum. Mine was forward. I joined a Saturday pickup basketball league at the rec center because my body needed to remember it was more than a carrier for other people's emergencies. I cooked with Ava. We made pancakes shaped like galaxies and ate them on the porch in our socks. The first Monday back, my department chair, Priya, put a sticky note on my whiteboard. It just said, "You are allowed to be a whole person." I kept it there. There were consequences for my parents beyond silence. Mom had to call the electric company herself. Dad learned the price of tools he'd always pretended were free. Chase, stripped of my credit ladder, hit the bottom of his. He texted a cousin for money, and the cousin sent me a screenshot with an eye roll emoji. "He's making the rounds," she wrote. 2 weeks after the ICU, my sister-in-law, Kara, who usually floats above drama, texted me. He used her name at the pawn shop. They called me to verify, because I once co-signed something 5 years ago. I said, "No." "Thank you," I wrote. "He's freaking out," she replied. Mom told him to apologize. He said, "He will if you pay rent first."
Of course he did.
That night, I sat on the floor with Ava, building a spaghetti and marshmallow tower for her science club. She said, "Are we mad at Grandpa forever?" I thought about time as a vector. I thought about force without acceleration. "We're not mad forever," I said. "We're safe for as long as it takes." She nodded, took a marshmallow, and announced, "I'm eating the apex."
She did.
It collapsed. We laughed. Closure didn't arrive with apologies. It arrived as a quiet decision that stayed put when people tried to move it. A month after the ICU, Dad texted from a new number. "We miss Ava. Let's talk." I wrote, "We can talk here."
He called.
I let it ring out. He tried again. I answered. He started soft. "How is she?" "Good," I said. "Thanks for asking." A pause. He wasn't used to the exchange costing him anything. "We want to see her," he said. "Your mother misses her." "You can," I said, "under conditions. No money talk. No insults. No surprise visits. If you break the rules, visit stop." Silence. "That's extreme," he said finally. "It's healthy," I said. "It's new for
us.
That's why it feels extreme." He tried one last angle. "Family doesn't need rules." Family that needs rules the most says that sentence the loudest, I said. Text me 2 dates that work. We'll meet in a public place. If it goes well, we'll try again. He hung up without answering. An hour later, a text. Sunday at 2 o'clock. We met at a botanical garden because Ava likes the koi pond. Mom brought a small stuffed star she bought at the gift shop on the way in. She handed it to Ava like it made up for everything. Ava hugged it anyway, because she is herself. We walked. We watched fish. We ate pretzels. They didn't mention money. They did, however, nudge at the edges. Maybe on your brother's next birthday, Mom began. Stop, I said gently. We're here for Ava. She pressed her lips together. Dad cleared his throat. For an hour, we were a family in the ordinary way I'd always wanted. Ava told them about her comic. I told them about a student who built a Newton's cradle out of forks. Mom told us a story about her grandmother I'd never heard, because usually the stories are about checks. When it was time to leave, Dad put his hands in his pockets. We want to do better, he said, not looking at me but near me. We'll try. I'll respond to trying, I said. Not to threats. He nodded once. No promises, just the smallest movement in the right direction. On the drive home, Ava held her star and said, I like the fish. Then, after a beat, you didn't let Grandpa be mean. I didn't, I said. It felt like a metal pinned inside my chest. That night, after she fell asleep, I sat at the kitchen table and made a list with 2 columns. What I will do, and what I will not do. Will do. Answer calls about health and safety. Show up for hospital, for real emergencies, for the small, soft stuff that makes a life. Will not do. Fund parties, cover debts, be coerced by shame, accept insults as currency. I stuck the list to the fridge next to Ava's Galaxy magnet art. A boundary so ordinary you could mistake it for a grocery list. A week later, Priya asked if I wanted to lead the physics team to regionals.
I said yes.
Ava drew our team a banner with comets and wobbly equations. We ate pizza in the lab. I laughed in a way that didn't feel careful. Sometimes at night, when the house is quiet, I replay that hallway phone call. Then you're cut off. I used to hear it like a door slamming shut, locking me out. Now it sounds like a hinge replaced. The door still swings, but I choose when to open it. Ava asked me again, Dad, about Grandpa. About Grandpa, I told her. We love people from a safe distance when they refuse to be safe up close. That's all. She seemed satisfied with that, the way kids can be when you answer the actual question instead of the one you wish they'd asked. I can teach her the laws of motion. I can teach her the math of breath. I can also teach her that love without boundaries is not love. It's a leak. So, here's my simple ending. The one I wish I'd learned sooner. I am not a bank. I am not a buffer. I am not the oldest son whose purpose is to hold up a house that refuses to repair its own beams. I am a father, a teacher, and a man who learned to say no without apology. And this time, when I said it, I meant it.